Hello, this is Editor Dalton from the future, and I just wanted to open this episode with a little note that there is an audio problem in this episode, and that audio problem is me because I recorded with the wrong microphone without realizing it. However, I still enjoyed the content of the episode and did not want to cut it over that. So, if this is your first time listening, know that the almost adequate sound quality you're getting right now is what you can normally expect, not the crap you're about to get. My apologies for that, and I hope you'll still give it a shot, whether this episode or another better sounding one. Thank you for listening.
Welcome to yet another Geek Show, where we're spotlighting the movie Doom, a movie so forgettable we can't think of a good opening to this podcast. I'm your host, Jacob.
I'm your host, Alex Ecker.
I'm your host, Dalton Lee, and boy, I made these guys watch this movie.
You sure did.
What the Bioforce gun, Dalton?
I did it to myself, too, and I'm sorry.
What the Bioforce gun?
It's not what it's called. It's not what it's called.
Thank you.
PG-13 movies are allowed one F-bomb, and they didn't...
They used a few in that movie.
Well, so here's the thing, is that, I went into this knowing the reputation. I didn't suggest that we watch this because I thought it was going to be good. But the Bioforce gun was like, the moment I got so mad that I went on a rant about it to my poor wife, who was just trying to sleep, who had long given up on the movie. And she's like, yeah, it's great. But it mattered to me. And see, here's the thing, is that at that point, there had been no murder yet.
Yeah.
And so, not knowing anything about this movie, I saw that bit of censorship and I went, oh dear God, is this a PG-13 fucking Doom movie? But it's not. It's not PG-13.
Are you serious?
It's R.
No, dude, there was nudity in it. And
Oh yeah, there
all
were
over the place.
There was titties in it.
And really harsh language. And yeah, it was very much a rated R movie that for some reason went with Bioforce gun. Did they think it was too silly?
I mean,
Right.
they read their own script. They couldn't have thought this was too silly.
I mean, let's put it this way. Doom VFR.
Virtual fucking reality.
Thank you. Doom is all about dropping the F-bomb, flinging chainsaws, exploding things to death.
I don't see any Doom in this movie.
There is.
You could have named it anything else, and it would have been fine.
Now, granted, I am seeing that the influence here was really Doom 3, which I haven't played. I mean, I played it one time, the day it came out, when a cousin rented it. I mentioned in our last weekly. I don't actually remember anything about it. But so, having recently played Doom 1, 2, 4, there's nothing out of those games here.
Right.
Supposedly there's a bit of Doom 3, but people aren't real big on that game, and it was not the right one to pull from. I guess it was recency bias. It was the newest one, and I guess it dived a little further into having a real story than the original Doom games, but it's not the reason we know what Doom is. I don't get it. This is even before you screw it up by just not doing Doom, I think you've screwed up by choosing to do Doom.
Yeah.
There are so many video game franchises, even back in 2005, that could be adapted so well. And you chose the game where, there's technically a story. Who cares? But
right.
There's technically something there. We're not going to use any of it.
No, not at all.
No.
To the extent that there's not even demons in it.
No. They're zombies. They're goddamn zombies.
The one character, forgive my political incorrectness, but I call him the Jesus dude.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh.
He was credited as a Hell Knight.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't even fucking fight.
No, he didn't.
He beat his head off of glass and was like, all right, see ya.
Oh God.
There's my cue. Bye.
It lost me whenever you realize it's like they turned it into a zombie movie. The only time they mention hell when they're like, this is hell. And I'm like, no, watching this is hell. I did like
Exactly.
There's so many movies where if this was the first ever zombie movie that had been out ever, I'd have been like, all right, okay. But it's not. The only thing that got right was the Doom logo. And like the first couple minutes of setup where you're like, oh, this can be interesting. Like the girl's arm gets jammed in the door and you can see that something definitely gets her right before it happens. And I'm like, I kind of get a little excited where you're like, okay, cool. It's setting up a small bit of what happened on the station beforehand. And then every actor starts to act. Air quotes you can't see.
I never heard air quotes before in my life. I totally heard them there.
If we could talk about that, actually, not the art, but the acting. This movie is dated. And there are jokes that you can't make in this movie. There is a whole character that shouldn't even exist. And we all know who I'm talking about. Mr. Strip Search.
I was actually like, I giggled when he was doing his thing, but not because it was funny, but because, oh my God, we thought this was funny back then.
Oh God.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Ice King.
Like,
but I also like seeing that there's also this element that like, not that this is a horror movie, but horror movies and to some extent action movies really like to do this thing where characters, there will be a character that's like a Nazi or a racist or a pedophile or just something awful, and the whole thing is so that like the audience can enjoy it when they get murdered. And the whole thing is just like so cynical and gross to me. Like I remember rewatching the Final Destination movies so recently, and there's just a guy who's super racist, and I'm like, really, this character is just here because I'm supposed to like cheer on his death? Like how gross is that, honestly?
Right.
Like coming from a guy who loves Doom, like I don't know. There's layers to the problem there, but the bigger problem here is because it's 2005. I don't think we're supposed to think this guy's an asshole. I think we're supposed to think he's funny.
and that's
Right.
That's the weird thing, because even his death in the movie, spoilers for something you're never going to watch, by the way. The guy who's watching him die laughs about it. Like he's meant to be like the audience, like, ha, sucks to be him getting thrown around in a bathroom. Like that's what like you want to see. And I remember the entire time it's like, I want to see anything else. Sorry, I hate this movie. It is just objectively bad. Even when it tries to do fan service stuff, you're just staring at it going, no.
Yeah.
Okay, so new rule, because of the bit about the this is hell. If you're making a film adaptation of something, and I guess this would also apply to like X-Men that made their joke about what did they say, like black spandex or leather or however they worded it.
Yeah.
Blue spandex, whatever they said, yellow spandex. Oh God, I'm going way off the point, but whatever the bit was. New rule when you're making a film adaptation, if you have to make a tongue-in-cheek joke about some element of the original thing that you're not carrying over, just stop. Just stop production right now.
Yeah.
And be done.
Yeah, because there is like a fan. There's a fan base to like a lot of these properties that do get adapted. And with Doom, the interesting thing about it, like what I knew people told me about it was like you are on Mars fighting demons. You're in hell. And that was interesting at the time, because I think all you had at the time was Wolfenstein, which was shooting Nazis, which is nothing wrong with that. But like for that game, it was like this interesting concept. And then you take this movie and turn it into a run-of-the-mill sci-fi Saturday morning movie of, oh, we're just going to shoot some people. And the main character's a gravelly man who has some problems with stuff and some flashbacks. And like that's... Oh, and you fill it with jokes that like you feel like drunk frat boys at 3 a.m. decided to write down, because it just none of it lands,
dude. And it wasn't even a good flashback. Like it was just all you hear is voices, and you're just supposed to assume that someone died.
Yeah.
Like come on, like are you fucking kidding me? Oh man.
Okay.
Speaking
of, let's be real though. They made this because Resident Evil made money.
No, yeah. It does feel like a Resident Evil movie almost through and through, with like the camera work, the tone.
It really does. Mm-hmm.
they wanted to recreate the success of Resident Evil to the point of turning the creatures into zombies instead of demons. And then
I'd say more Alien Parasite.
And then, well, I'm getting there because
okay.
I mean, they are zombies, right? It's this like genetic mutation stuff going on. But then, they do us the favor of setting it on a Mars colony because it's Doom. Thanks for that much effort. And then they realized, oh, we just made like a very small similarity to the Alien franchise here. Let's also try to make Aliens.
Yeah.
And completely fail at that too. Aliens is a perfect 10 out of 10 action movie, and this is garbage. I don't know if I can keep talking about this.
No, and it's well, they really try to like throw in, and you can see that like maybe someone on the staff was like, oh, hey, throw in this nod to this, like the BFG not being what it's supposed to be. Kind of almost like the false protagonist bit, which is the only thing I thought was neat at the time, that I did think The Rock was the main character. And then he just gets dragged away. But then the script has to have him, the moment he's about to get dragged away, going, I can't die. I'm the and he gets yanked away. I'm like, were you about to say main character? Like that's how it plays out.
Were you about to say who you were?
He's like, I'm Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
The actual main character's like, and the other main character's like, it doesn't matter what your name is.
I don't give a damn what your name is. And then they try to do this like really
stick it straight up your candy.
They have like the first person segment, which right when it went to it for a hot second, I was like, this is way before Hardcore Henry. Like, this looks interesting. And then the first zombie demon he kills, he just turns to it. It's like, and he just shoots his face off. Yeah. And this is the moment they decide to be like, let's drop some iconic Doom monsters in. Remember, they're on screen for 2 seconds and people, they just die.
Yeah.
Remember the wheelchair monster?
Yeah.
It was specifically that guy at a desk. That guy. He was the wheelchair monster. It was definitely just him. And then they have to throw a wrestling match in.
Okay. Wait, about that character, about Pinky. So Pinky is not a character, but the name of a particular iconic Doom monster. But Pinky, it's an adaptation of the Doom 3 version, which bears little resemblance to what a Pinky is in Doom 1, 2, and 4. The whole, like, wheels for legs kind of thing. And so if you're into Doom 3, which was the wrong game for them to be adapting in the first place, then, like, okay, the character of Pinky who's attached to a wheelchair, I guess that's kind of cute. You guys can't see the face I just made. I was being sarcastic. It's dumb. It's really dumb.
Yeah.
But it's also like the only real effort into any acknowledgement of any Doom that they put into anything here. Besides something that kind of looks like the BFG.
I can't get over the fucking name. I can't. I seen that and I looked at my wife and I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, you're just like, it hurts.
And then when that whole first person Doom scene happened, I was like, oh no.
That's like if like we were playing the new Final Fantasy VII remake and it's like, Cloud, what's your sword? And he was like, it's called the Busty Blade. You'd be like, no. It's like, that's not, you just don't rename shit. It would have been funny if you, like, they could have cut it off. It's like, that's a big, and he goes, hey, we know what it is. Like, you could have had like a funny dumb nod if you didn't want to drop the F-bomb. But then, don't worry, it's Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Yeah. You have to have a wrestling match as your final thing, where he does trademark wrestling moves that he's definitely done in the WWE to Carl fucking Urban.
Okay, let's dive into this then. So, a Doom adaptation.
There you go.
Fucking Doom. The game series about shooting and chainsawing demons to death. This movie's climax was a goddamn fist fight between 2 humans.
Yeah. Right. Well, you just reminded me, I called you, okay, after I watched this movie. Destroyer, okay? His fight scene. He gets surprised by a 10-foot tall fucking demon.
Yes.
Picks up this probably 300-pound man in full gear, slams him across rocks and pipes, and then throws him 30 fucking feet into a prison. He manages to get up, picks up a computer monitor that had like 30 cables too many attached to it. He swings it around like a ball and chain. And I'm supposed to believe this 10-pound piece of plastic and some sheet metal is supposed to hurt this fucking demon. But then it gets better. He picks up, after being that much badly damaged, picks up probably a 50-pound pipe with one hand and then swings it at him, hits him in the face with it. And then that pipe grows another 20 feet long enough to go wall to wall to pin him to this electric fence. And then he somehow gets up there and then dies. He just climbs up this 30-foot thing and then dies after it. Are you fucking what?
Just even if you remove the Doom name from it,
might as well have been called Deem.
it's still just an incoherent, ugly mess.
Yeah, it doesn't look right. It doesn't look right at all. Even for the time period, it just nothing seems to translate right.
All the lighting is super dark, and the only time that we really see any like CGI effects is when it's just like a little bit of eyes and maybe a shimmer.
It's a really bad Aliens fan film.
Yeah.
And you could have made it, like, because Doom's hard to make a movie about. Like, you do have the action, the blood, and the gore, but like we've previously talked about, even in the previous weekly, like, there's just not a lot of story there. And you could have done like something 300-esque where you just make up some fucking space marines and you watch them kill demons and them get slaughtered. And yeah, you're like, it's like popcorn movie. Yeah. But they had to go, we need to make Doom Guy interesting. We're going to make him connected to the demon zombies with science that doesn't check out at all. I know it's a movie, but the science, and I'm not going to get into it too much, but the science is offensive.
It really is.
I'm going to get into it. Okay, whoever wrote this movie, I'm not going to give you the honor of looking at the IMDb page and acknowledging your existence. Maybe it turns out this guy's written all my favorite movies. I don't know. But we know what happens when people have extra chromosomes, and it ain't this.
No.
And that's all I've got to say about that.
Right.
And that's it's just, they try to make it like this weird, you're tied to the demons bit, and then he becomes superhuman with his, I don't know the actress's name. I didn't take time to look.
You keep using that word demon.
Yeah, demon. Was like demon zombies, dombies. We're going to call them dombies. they're dombies. They're dumb. They don't work right. And you have the extra thing. You have the extra chromosome. You're special. I'm like, that's not how you talk to people. And she's just such a bad actress. It's terrible. The entire time she's, I'm a scientist. And you're like, please stop. And it seems like
guys, Dalton referenced the IMDb page we have opened up.
Yeah.
Oh no.
What is it? You please take me off my rant.
I looked at the Did You Know page.
No.
They have a section called Goofs.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Let me read what I read or what I seen. In the cardiac arrest scene, the patient clearly is an I don't know how to say that word. Asystole?
Asystole arrest? Medical guy. What is that word?
Yeah, cardiac defibrillation is not the correct treatment.
Is it
the
bad
only
that I
fucking
noticed that?
goof is that they made this movie.
Is it bad that I actually noticed that? I was watching and I went, that's not how you revive a guy. I was like, that's not... No, the movie shouldn't exist. And I feel like the doctor was meant to be a love interest. And then they switched that shit around to be like, it's his sister, his twin sister. And you're like, has anybody looked at Carl Urban and then this lady next to it? They don't know. There's nothing right. He has dark black hair. She is a blonde. And they're like, hi, we're totally twins. And half of your squad's trying to sleep with me right now while we fight zombies on Mars.
Oh my god.
God.
This movie is not good.
I don't understand. Like, at least Resident Evil, as much as I don't want to praise that franchise of movies right now, added interesting stuff and like recreated some iconic stuff. You had like the liquor show up, and even though like the main character,
Jacob, I saw you gag a little when you used the word franchise to describe the Resident Evil movies.
That's because they're about to ruin Monster Hunter, and it just hurts me deeply.
You were like, "There's more than one." Oh.
I'm like, Resident Evil starring Mila. Like, what could they have just not? Can we go back? Can we just make a time machine to be that one guy who just smacks the dude in the boardroom and is like, no, not this one. Move on to something else.
Oh my god.
Yeah, the soundtrack is awful.
Yes, and they only use it when they run through the hallways.
Thank you.
We need to go somewhere. And then they get there, and then nothing happens. Just The Rock going, man,
Right.
it's fucked. So you're like, yeah, we know. God damn.
Oh, you have to cut an X on your wrist. You said his name in vain.
Oh yeah, you're right. I have to open myself to infection on a foreign planet where there's a virus going around that we don't know exactly what it does, and I wonder why I die later.
Yeah. Well, it's because you headbutt a window,
Oh yeah,
but you also got infected.
he also got infected. But don't let that plot line go nowhere. She literally, dude, yeah, that's a plot line that goes nowhere. She looks at him and goes, "Oh, he must have still been there when he was infected." And then that never is addressed until like The Rock shows up later.
Yeah.
He's like, "Yeah," and you're like, "All right, they turned you into a werewolf. Like, what is this?" He's got fangs and new contacts.
Okay, so I'm gonna change direction here a little
Please,
bit.
thank you.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna give 3 really tiny, really small, really minor positives.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
I think there was potential that could have worked in another movie for the conflict between The Rock and Karl Urban.
Okay.
I think in the third act they had chemistry together, and their conflict could have been interesting if it wasn't the end of this particularly dumb movie. And if they did any good work like getting to that point, and it didn't just happen on a dime. 2, it eventually ends.
I was waiting for that. I was waiting for that.
Can I assume what your third good point is?
I think you know what it is.
It doesn't have an after credit scene that alludes to a sequel?
No, but I guess there's 4 now. Did you watch past the credits to find out? Because I didn't.
No.
I fast forwarded through it.
Okay. My third one was that the credits are a dope-ass 9 Inch Nails banger.
That is true. That is true.
Yeah.
That's all I got, you guys.
It's okay.
Oh my god.
I'm trying to think of. Okay, I'll do 3 positives too. I'll dig deep for this.
Okay.
The font of the logo. It's pretty good. That's actually, I think that's
pretty solid work.
That's literally Doom from like the 3rd game. They just took away the 3. Oh geez. The Rock dies in this movie. He never dies in anything else he's in. This is like the only movie he's died in. Like, look it up. He dies. I like The Rock. It was nice to see that he did something different and it didn't ruin his career.
Is this before he had the authority to say, no, I don't die in movies?
Yeah, probably. They were like, this is your first movie and you're still a wrestler. We need to kill you. And he's like, well, fuck.
Because this is when he was The Rock and not Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah, he still had the hair and he didn't. Yeah, so he's still The Rock. The third good thing about this movie is that when I go to bed tonight, I will forget it exists. And I'll never remember it until I get a notification about us posting this episode. And then I will be in a deep vat of sorrow. But until then, life is going to be real nice. So, Alex, you got anything?
Okay. They referenced at least one song that I knew about because we're working on a cover for it.
There you go.
Very, very loosely.
It tripped me the hell out because, of course the main Doom theme is nowhere to be found.
Of course. It's
just one particular, level theme that it's funny. The movie, honestly,
Demon's Dead, right?
Honestly, The Demon's Dead. I couldn't give it 100% attention. I was multitasking because it didn't deserve 100% out of me. So I had my laptop in my lap working on our cover of The Demon's Dead. And The Demon's Dead has one melody that repeats, this just 2-bar melody that repeats the whole way through the song. And so I'm hearing this melody over and over again while I'm working on the cover. And then I hear the melody come out of the movie. And it takes me another 10 seconds to realize it just came out of the movie and not my computer. And then when I realized, I'm like, wait, why that song? Why not the main Doom theme anywhere? Why did you pull one bar out of one level theme
Right.
Maybe there were other musical references in there.
Probably,
I didn't notice, but still,
I don't care to go back and find out.
Yeah.
Okay, my 3 points. I already said one of them. There's no ending credits theme alluding to a sequel.
There you go.
The fact that it made me realize I needed to put a spot of paint on my wall in my living room. And Gwyneth Paltrow wasn't the reason this movie sucked.
This may flip a little bit. While you're doing your points, I went to look up there's reasons why this movie got flipped around. Not only is there a better version of the script that actually has demons, the original conflict, actual monsters from the games, and a reference to the fact that this was meant to be later in the series and not the original Doom, it was all cut because of Resident Evil's success, like you said, and they went with a more zombie-styled movie and made it generic. They literally had a version of the script that was actually good, and they were like meant to reference Doom Guy, how this shit had happened before, like all this stuff, and it never happened.
Wait, I wouldn't go as far as to say actually good. I would say actually Doom.
Accurate.
That is true. With a 19% rating on Rotten Tomatoes, which is one more digit than, for double than it really actually needs. Yeah, this is bad.
I already didn't believe you could make a good Doom movie, which is impressively cynical from me because I've said before that I think you can do anything well on screen as long as talented people are doing it. Mm-hmm. I still don't think you can do it for Doom despite that. And somehow this movie did worse.
But not bad enough.
And I am horrified. I am horrified that when we watch Doom Annihilation next, which Jacob, you have watched, don't tell us the answer to this. I am horrified that it could be worse.
But that's because you're pessimistic.
Because based on what I've seen, it worse.
Jake's face is not showing promise.
For our audio listeners, I'm going to just go ahead and, yep.
Oh, shit. I have no more words about this movie.
I can't wait to forget this movie in a couple minutes.
Fuck this shit, I'm out. We've squeezed out about 25 more minutes than I expected.
Oh my God.
Of this movie.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
And,
how did we go on
I
this
think
long?
we're good here.
We are very good, yeah.
Thanks for listening. I'm sorry if you watched the movie before listening.
Don't watch it now.
Don't watch it now. Don't do what we're about to do and watch the reboot. But we'll see you
if you
after
really want to do us a favor, bring us your own Bioforce gun and put us out of our misery.
Oh, hey, on a serious note, we have a goal, a very long-term goal, not something we'll do quickly, but we're going to cover basically all the video game movies. If you guys have a preference of a video game movie or franchise to start sooner than later, go ahead and share this on Twitter or wherever and name drop the video game movie you want us to move on to, because there's no rhyme or reason to what video game movies we're going to move on to. That said, for some reason, the next one's Doom Annihilation. We'll see you there. Oh, God, kill me.